All right. Hello, everybody. We are getting started painting up our Resin Beast entry for Adepticon. You can see a little better here. Once you get paint on it, it'll show up better on camera. But right now, black primer, black background, This is the Aspect of Faith from Bestiarum, or Bestiarum, I don't know, however you say their company name. This is what I'll be painting. This is 75 millimeters. I think the scale that it normally prints at is like 32 millimeter, but scaled it up so it's 75. Yeah, and where's I built the base? Super simple base. It's more about the backdrop. Like most of this is gonna be, you can see it's not even like even, but there's so many robes there. It's gonna be covered, and it's gonna be pretty dark because the whole concept of this is like light kind of coming down from above. This will be pretty dark. This will be a little lighter, and you'll see like the light shining down on them. Reminds me. Just need to open up my light reference real quick. All right. So I'm going to start base coating here. We got some Cartacci red from Chimera. And mahogany from Pro Acryl. It's basically a dark reddish brown and a little bit of a darker red, just so we can get some of those dark red undertones for the skin. I want a slight bit of blue in there, a little bit of a purple tint. That was very wet. That's not normal for this. Needs to be mixed up, but it's okay. This is Turquoise Deep from Chimera, one of the pure pigments. There we go. See, he's got this little hole in his chest here. It's going to be interesting to paint that. I want to go very simple with the color scheme here. See, there's not a lot of fabric or anything, but this is going to be black. These ribbons or whatever are going to be red with the gold in, because there's like runes or whatever all over them. I feel like I should have added maybe just a little bit more turquoise to this. There we go. So you can just barely see that other leg right there. We got, what is it, like 40 something days till Adepticon. It's getting close. I haven't had a lot of time to paint recently. I haven't been streaming as a result. But I've still been working on some stuff. I have decided not to do Trug this year. Like, I could have gotten them done and all painted up, but that would have meant not being able to do Resin Beast or the Worthy, because I would have to devote all of my time to him. So instead, I'm reworking an old submission. Getting it to look better. All right, there we go. Sculpt the new base. Rework some non-metallic parts, and we'll get it done. All right, now we're getting salmon. Oh, getting on the camera there. Salmon skin from the Robert Carlson Chimera set. Hey, Dave. How's it going? And with this, oh man, I wish I had more dark ivory, but I am completely out. So we're just going to use regular ivory from Pro Acryl. Oh man, yeah, I'm doing all right. My internet seems to be a little spotty right now. We are in the middle of a blizzard, or at least the blizzard just started. So my internet doesn't really like snowstorms, apparently. So we might drop some frames here and there. Hopefully it's not too bad. All right, we're going to take that salmon skin and that base coat color, mix it a little. So let's add a little bit of mahogany to this as well. And then the ivory. Should go a little bit more mahogany here. And as you mix these, you end up getting skin tone a little more red, a little reddish. Oop. Yeah, that was a big drop. All right. Are you ready for Adepticon, Dave? I thought this model looked pretty cool, but jeez. I wish their sculptors knew human anatomy just a little bit better. The way this guy's sculpted, he kind of has like a 32 pack. It's really weird. Just need to sculpt a trophy for the cornhole tournament or something else. Got a little too orange. Just fine. We'll be adding other colors. Some nice variation in that skin. It's no big deal. Hey, Dylan, how's it going? I'm doing well. How about yourself? It's been a while. Since the light is coming from almost directly above, he is going to have a little bit of a shadow around the neck area. And that leg's not really going to get a whole lot of light. Feel like ages? Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've really streamed more than twice since September. Trying to buy a house, but the market is tricky. Yeah, housing market everywhere is it's been a whole thing. Selling one and the paperwork had to go back one step because the bank sold the loan I had on it. Jeez. All right. Lighten that up a little. I actually want to get some yellow onto here. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right, are we back? Like I said, the snowstorm is kind of fucking with my internet. It's not fun. We just had a drop in I got to see on OBS that I went all the way down to 0, which is what you really want to see. Oh, no, this is clogged. We don't want to shoot this out. I'm adding some transparent yellow just to get some more yellow tones in here. There we go. As we add all those colors, it starts to look a little more fleshy. And we're already dropping again. Great. The bank would like to sell my property. Sorry, we can't. We don't own your loan anymore. Get out. Yeah, that's pretty interesting how that happens. My wife and I bought a new house about a year ago at this point. We sold our old house. We put it on the market and it sold in less than 24 hours. Because that's how that's what the market was like for a while over here. And that made buying a house really shitty because by the time you go to view it, someone already has an offer on it. All right. Let me get this a little brighter and we can kind of sketch in where our big highlights are going to go. You can actually visible here. A lot of these lights won't stay this bright. It's just kind of giving me a little guide. Music is slightly louder, voice is slightly low. Could be the music. It's been a while since I streamed, and my OBS settings kind of changed, so things got a little messed up. Just we're in an apartment now, so when we have the papers done, we should be easy. That's good. We're just guessing what to offer. The asking price, the bidding prices so far make no sense anymore. Is like everyone going way above market price or list price? Came up with a concept recently that I love, but will take forever. I will sculpt a full dio with market stalls and 5 figures. Ooh. That is adventurous. I'm worried about this thing right here. I feel like I'm just gonna snap it off. $20K over. Oof. If you don't go at least $20K over, it doesn't count. That's ridiculous. So we should get a little highlight right here. Just trying to check my light reference. I don't normally paint with the light kind of like directly above like this. I like to go off to the side or a bit for a more dramatic effect, but I thought it really helped with this figure, the kind of whole because the aspect of faith, that's the name of the model, and like the light just kind of shining down directly on him. And it'll make sense with the background once the background or the backdrop and all that's in there. So Dave, this big idea you have, is it for WME? The shadow, I see this, because his head, obviously this is casting a shadow here. And we'll do work on it. Oop, it's coming off the tape. This is not the best tape for this job. It's the connecting points. This double-sided tape is actually pretty good, but anyway, I'm just gonna leave it this base color right now, the like where the shadow's going, but it will get work because it will be, just more of a darker, desaturated skin tone. You'll still be able to see the things. Actually, this is not getting light at all right here because his like bulging rib cage is casting a shadow. So I said the anatomy on this guy is a little different. Okay. It's a nice figure. Yeah, this is the aspect of faith from Bestiarum. the 3D printing company from Poland. Painting it for Resin Beast at Adepticon. No chance, way too complicated. Lucky maybe SMC next year. Oh, okay. WME is Dancers and Dark Elf. Okay. Adding a little bit more of this orange in, or salmon skin. Hold on. Second guessing myself. Yeah, it is salmon skin. It's a very orange color for salmon skin, but I don't know. Maybe they have different salmons in Denmark. Yeah, this guy has like a billion different little ab muscles here. It's very strange. Then again, their whole shtick is basically like Souls-like models, playing the Dark Souls games or Bloodborne. You know, most of their stuff looks like it's trying to come out of those video games, and those anatomies can get a bit odd, we'll say. Stop falling off the tape. And he doesn't have a whole lot of connector points. That's why he just keeps falling off this tape, but it's not too bad. Still have to finish my project from last year. Which project was that? Just kind of giving the whole thing a like little filter here, and then we'll come back. And I'm gonna like redden the skin around this hole. Oh, the Wraith Knight. Oh yeah, I remember that. That was looking pretty cool. So got a Necromancer Dragon from Creature Caster as well. Well, good luck with Creature Caster models. Those things are giant and ridiculous. if I'm able to finish this guy and my worthy piece and my golden demon piece in time, I do have a 32 mil creature caster guy. Nothing not one of like the monsters or anything, just a normal human dude that I will try to do for the small scale category for Resin Beast. Oh, thank you, Dave. I have faith in you too. I think you're going to finish your sculpts. Grab this. This was the golden demon piece that I'm going to redo. This, see, Ragnar. Varder removed him. So what I'm going to do, we're going to move him closer. Turn him a little more, because right now, he's kind of far away and like that. So we're going to turn him a little bit more. Get it to about like that position. Completely resculpted base. Like this is all shitty negative space. We're gonna get rid of that. The base is gonna kind of be with like the sword, the chain sword up there. The whole shape is gonna vaguely resemble a Zinch symbol. I've already worked on a bunch of the gold non-metallic metal. Still more to do. Gonna change the redo the purple gems. They could be done much better. Completely repaint the purple cape and the white wolf pelt. I'm gonna change those, make those look better. I've done some little bits to the armor. Toned down some highlights some places, brought highlights up some other places. This one still needs work. Like his hand needs to be a lot brighter, especially since now that they're going to be like almost touching hands. You can see how bright his wrist is here compared to like how not shiny that hand is. So we're gonna change that. Redoing the hair, that's why it's just black. I've brightened up his face a little too. But so I mean, I already had like, almost maybe 200 hours in this guy, so it just needs like 20-ish more hours and it'll be done. Like Trug was gonna be, like I said, way too much work. To get him and everything else done. Like I'd be able to get him done, but I wanted all these things, I like the Resin Beast and the Worthy. So Dave, are there any sculpting classes at Adepticon this year? After Premier is teaching there. Are you taking it, or is it a class you've already taken? Teaching green stuff for converting. Oh, okay. I guess maybe the big question is, when are you going to start teaching classes? I think you're a good enough sculptor now. You can teach people how to start using sculpting stuff and giving them lessons. Try to make some money on all these conventions you go to. When I get good. Yes. I think you're there. Like, you might not be at the level that you want to be, but you're pretty good, you know. Look, I got your center sitting right next to me, and looking at that and looking at this, I think you can teach these guys something about anatomy. Have you seen my 2 current projects? I don't believe so. Hey, Doug. How's it going? I don't know if you guys heard that. I don't know if my microphone picked it up, but a snowplow just went barreling down the alley, causing all types of racket. Put my whips on your Discord. All right. I will check that out in a bit. And hopefully the drops haven't been too bad for you guys. I know the snow is kind of fucking with my internet connection right now. So I've dropped 3.9% of frames so far. Not encouraging. All right, since this is going to be a strong light source, I'm going to kind of work my way up almost to this pure ivory for the brightest highlights here. And as we go down, those highlights will not be as prominent. Like most of the bright highlights are going to sit around this area. Because when you see like the shaft of light on the backdrop, you know, these parts are going to be outside of it. So you'll still get some light, but it won't be as bright. Archer beats of the Bison Minotaur guy. M Bison. M for Minotaur, of course. Is that Chaos Space Marine guy your entry? A little too much pink. The Chaos Chosen is looking pretty good so far. Do you have other Adepticon stuff, or is that why you mean you gotta move on? Or are you just tired of painting for Golden Demon? Because that is extremely understandable. You know, one of the reasons that I really like painting for Resin Beast is that if you get a prize, their prize packages usually include new brushes, and I've kind of killed all the ones that I got last year, so I'm in need of some new brushes. Like this was one of those, the Game Envy Phalanx set. You can see like it's not holding the tip anymore; it's splitting. We also got those uh, Chronicle RPG brushes, the Kolinsky Sable ones. That's why I really like this size 7 from them. It's great for base coating. Gets things done quick. Doug, are you going to the Magnus class? Found a Broken Toad Series 2 I've been using. You are going to class. Nice. That'll be a nice class. I'm pretty excited for that. I've loved his work for a number of years. He's very good. At the art show, Anthony said that my work reminded him of Magnus because I kind of get a little too desaturated at times. Which I am trying to like up the saturation a little for certain things. Not all of it. I like a bit of desaturation. A little bit more yellow. Stop falling off. Okay. And as we work down to these lower muscles, like the midtones up here kind of become the highlights down here. That way you can see that this stuff's still getting highlighted, still getting lights, but it's not as bright anymore. Same with these like outside muscles. His 37 different rib cage muscles right there. Nova, where I plan to enter bust style and hopefully another category. Are you painting, or is like someone painting your stuff, or are they doing a sculpt category at Nova? Painting, nice. I have never seen your painted work in person before, so that'll be fun. Doug, you're going to Nova? That'll be cool. Let's see you there. No sculpt category announced yet that I'm aware of. Camera, what the fuck? There you go. I heard people talking about that, saying like just enter the sculpts and then eventually they'll put a category in. Because I know last year there was that Space Marine sculpt that was in there. It was like half space, like you got to see half the armor and the other half was like you saw the inside of the armor. That looked pretty cool. Kind of like at Crystal Brush, so many of us just were entering busts into the large category that they finally just gave us a bust category. You know, like 2 years before they went under. One of the bad thing about 3D prints is usually the parts are all together. Like it would be easier to paint this arm if the shield wasn't attached, but you know, everything just comes together. I'm trying to finish this GD piece because just been working on it forever. I'm still enjoying it. Kind of want to paint an entry for the Trench Crusade. There's a Trench Crusade contest. And it's an online contest. It was painted. It was a 3D print painted to look like it was made of green stuff. Oh, that's interesting. No, I am doing Golden Demon. I'm just reworking an old piece rather than doing Trug. Unpainted piece in the painting contest once got a silver, made no sense. Oh my god, you're just fully off now. Okay. They're giving away like $10,000 worth of prizes. Nice. Good luck with that. That collarbone really pronounced. There we go. Try to lighten this area up here because that shadow from the head is kind of, let's just kind of draw a line there. Going like there. So this should be lighter. A few $1,000 3D printers. So, yeah, I'm reworking the duel. Oh, what the? Sorry about that. OneDrive. I do not want. Damn. I need. Does anyone know how to turn off this fucking OneDrive notifications? It's finally too far away. We're flying. Although that extra hour and a half is just too much. I mean, I would have always flown anyway, but thought it was funny that you guys always drove and then adding an extra hour and a half. It's done. I thought you guys stopped halfway at Vince's house anyway. Yeah, I guess I was just showing it off before you came in. Getting a whole new base that's going to move him a lot closer. I'm going to tilt him closer. They're like almost touching at that point. Full repaint of the wolf pelt and the pink, purple, magenta cloak. I've already reworked a bunch of the non-metallic gold. I do some of the blue armor as well. All right, let's get some purple tones in here. Add a little bit of yellow to that. Yeah, let's make it green. There we go. There we go. So this is for the shadow areas, so we're gonna kind of desaturate it a little bit with that. Green and blue tones. I should probably get a smaller brush for this, especially since, like I said, this brush is losing its tip. Normally I wouldn't go for such pronounced shadows like that, but you know, like I said, the light is coming from almost directly above, so you will be casting these little shadows. Oops. Did we get another drop? We might have. Fucking snow. Ruining the internet. Creation of add-on vibes. Yeah. Still need to buy my tickets. Well, luckily, you know, the tickets don't sell out or anything. And if you're not taking classes or doing anything, like it's no big deal just to buy them on site. You get there Friday. I could only get a hotel for like the whole thing, so I said fuck it. I'll be there on Wednesday. You know, I need to talk to Tim about the boards. 'Cause I don't know how it's gonna go, you know, like I don't know where we're gonna do it. Where I should drop them off. Like, are we gonna do it in a hotel? Is the venue gonna be open the whole time? We can just do it there. Also, my hotel is like maybe a block away. I don't know. I don't feel like lugging those boards around, you know, because they're kind of heavy. This spot's gonna get bigger. It's, you know, the light is just really hitting the top of that head. I haven't done anything to the face yet. With Anthony from Airbnb, Anthony, Matt DiPietro, and someone from Japan. Ah, cool. Gave up on my Resin Beast entry for this year. What were you doing? You might still have time, you know. Unless you're trying to do like a creature caster dragon or something, and yeah, that shit is forever. Pincer Demon. Okay. Yeah, if you're doing any of those big creatures, that those scenes are so like over detailed and complex. Let's see that just being a big time sink. Where is the biggest connection point here? There. I have to get some new tape and just redo this. But now we're just trying to blend in these highlights into the mid-tone, get the mid-tone back. Got it secondhand from Aaron C on the cheap. I want to buy a model from them. I guess I should have one of the prints done. I have 2 models from them. But I got what's he called? There's something on the Watcher or whatever, you know, the little guy on like the knottable holder. I got that for being, what did they call it, New Blood at Resin Beast 2 years ago, and then last year all of the winter bags had a some new demon guy in it that I looked at. I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool. Again, not gonna paint it because they're a little too complicated and over sculpted. Just give me the exact purple that I want. I know that's difficult. But yeah, I haven't painted any of those. I'm probably never going to either because I don't know, they're too much. A little too much. Let's get some of that green going in there to kind of there we go. That's what we're looking for. A little more desaturated. Their 3D printing stuff is pretty good. Like I've got a bunch of various things. I was saying earlier, if I'm able to finish all my stuff in time, I have a just a human dude from one of their latest releases. It was a squad of guys kind of like in cloaks and hoods, and they have shields and swords, and not too complicated. Looks pretty fun to paint as well. So I would do one of those guys for the small scale entry. Can't tear myself away from the golden soul flats. They are nice paints. Most things that are on the palette right now are, actually I shouldn't say most. All the things that are on the palette right now are Chimera and Pro Acryl. But I do use soul flats quite a bit. All right, let's get a smaller brush and work on that face a little. Still have yet to try Prolacryl. I really like them. They got a lot of really good colors. A lot of them have some very good saturation. They're nice and matte if you like them. But they also have satin ones, which are good too for various purposes. Come on, camera. There we go. They're pretty thin. Like Jason designed them because he doesn't use a wet palette, so they kind of work like they're on a wet palette on a dry palette. So if you put them on a wet palette, they thin down a little more. A lot of people seem to have issue with that, which if you know like what's going on, you can mitigate that. I think a lot of them have really nice coverage. It's got a lot of really nice colors too. Their dark magenta is very nice. A lot of people love the jade. It is a very nice color. Hopefully their lines aren't too crazy again at Adepticon because I'd like to pick up some more paint. I like the I can't remember if it was Ninjon or Vince's, the dark ivory. And Flamion's non-metallic gold set is really nice. Like I still really like Robert Carlson's Gold 79, I believe it's called. Something like that from the Chimera set. But that Flamion set has some very nice browns in it. Dark orange brown, really good. We're at the point where we're just kind of blending a lot of these skin tones together. I'm gonna come back and add in some like greenish tones various places, just kind of glaze it in and get some of those weird funky colors coming back you kind of see in human flesh, especially when there's weird light happening. And I still have to do like the reddish injured type skin around this giant hole in his chest. So, you know, dude just had faith he would live, and he did. I honestly have no idea what the story behind this guy is. using scale color, model color, and so flat. Like it's just not 100%. I haven't used scale color in a long time. I used to use like tons of scale 75. Do you mean scale color like their normal range, or is that like the artist range? Can't remember. There's still some colors from the scale 75 line that I still really like if I need them. Like Caspian Blue was one of my favorite paints. I just haven't used it in a while. And Indian Shadow. Both those are really nice. Eclipse Gray is also really cool too. It's a really nice almost black. So if you're painting, actually I might use Eclipse Gray on because I'm painting the all the cloth here black. Eclipse Gray might be a good base. Been using Fnatic and I like them. A lot of the new ones, the new armory painters, a lot of people seem to really like those. I have not tried them yet. You know what? Let's try to do the red. See how this goes. Okay. Too much teal, but I mean that's kind of to be expected. Okay. Thin this down. We're just kind of going for a light glaze here. Because it's a very light glaze right now, when it goes over the highlight, it looks higher value than when it goes over a darker color. That way it's kind of built in highlights already. Try and get his lips here a little too dark. Kind of hard to get them. Really don't need any more paint. I'm afraid to count. And I kind of feel that way about how much paint I have. And then, you look at some other people, some other streamers and like YouTubers and stuff, and you see their collection, and it's like, oh, my amount of paint is normal. like I said, this is kind of a cast shadow from the head here, but you know, it's still gonna get some light, some bounce reflection, especially since how bright that chest is. But you're gonna kind of go in with like darker, desaturated colors, and he's got this little weird thing at the I don't know what that's called. Where the two collarbone pieces meet. The divot is like really huge. It should not be that dark right there because the shadow is not like casting in there. There we go. Let's get a little bit of a pinkish orange tone in there. Insert rookie numbers meme here, yeah. I mean, it is funny. You look at all the paints that you have, and you're like, I don't need any more paints. But then there's so many other paints out there that you haven't tried yet, so you kind of want to get some and try them. Like, I've heard a lot of great things about AK 3rd Gen. Haven't tried them yet. And like we were just talking about the Fanatics, haven't tried them yet. Feel like it should, which would necessitate getting more paint. I know AK had a booth last Adepticon. Hopefully they're at this one, and they're selling like individual paints because I really want to try their black and their white. I know it sounds kind of silly, but I've heard nothing but good things about those two paints, especially for non-metallic steel because the black has a slight tint of blue in it. All right, we'll get some of this. I've been using dark sea blue for my dark armor on this piece. Kind of forgotten about it. Is that a scale color? Don't fall. I'm going to take a short break and then come back and probably start. Well, we'll base coat the ribbon stuff, and we might start working on some black cloth. So I'll be back in just a few minutes. I think what I'm going to do is I have mahogany on the palette, so I'm going to use that to kind of base coat everything that's going to be gold. Thanks, Dave. Mahogany's pretty. Ooh, there's orange in that. That's no big deal. Mahogany's pretty dark, so it might not be that visible over all the black, but you know, it'll be fine. So the shaft of this weapon is going to be wood. I had thought about doing it non-metallic metal, but then I noticed that it kind of curves and does some stuff. You can't really see it because of all the black, but making me think it's not metal. It's just like a almost straight piece of wood. So it'll just be wood. Obviously, you can see I have not done the shadow or the not really shadow, just darker. Like I said, I guess the light is not coming directly down. It is slightly from this angle. So this would be a little more shadowy. So it's going to be up against the backdrop. So it doesn't need to be as well done as the front. Like obviously we're still going to paint it. We're still going to put work into it, but we're not using the backdrop as an excuse to not paint the back of the model. Hey Jet, how's it going? How are you? Hope you're feeling well. You know, it has been a while. All right. So the shield thing is weird. I think I'm just gonna do these little like sunburst things as gold. Because all of this is all kind of connected, so that's just that'll be steel, I guess. So yeah, hopefully, you know, I'm back regular streamer. Um, definitely be streaming every day the rest of this week, barring some catastrophe with this blizzard that's happening. And hopefully, you know, a normal schedule. Come on, camera, there you go. Leading up to Adepticon. Because I have to get the Adepticon entries finished, so, you know, you need to paint. Ooh, Jet, you got yourself a Gene Stealer. Nice job. Enjoying your retirement? That's good to hear. How are your legs doing? I know that was an issue for a bit a while back. All right. So these, like I said, these ribbon things here are all going to be red with gold inlay. So I'm just kind of going to use the same color of the mahogany mixed with the Cartacci red as a base coat for this. And, you know, it'll work out for us. Might need to thin it down a bit just so we can kind of get into those crevices of the like runes that are on here. How does this? Oh, okay, so it just kind of comes into there. I see how this is going. Okay. Oh. Got right up on the skin. That's cool. Actually, still wet. Just kind of glaze it down, and hey, it works because it was the base coat for the skin. So just went into the shadows. It's fine. No change, but learning to live with them. Sorry to hear that. Was hoping it got better. Again, like the issue with the 3D print stuff. If we could remove this shield, it would be so much easier to hit some of these spots. Because there's these ribbons directly behind the shield. Well, for any 3D printers here, which I know a few of you are, especially the sculptors, have you guys tried the new, I mean, I don't know how new it is anymore, but the newish Elegoo slicer? Because I actually used it for this model here, and I used their new like Evo auto supports just to see how they were. It actually turned out pretty well. Don't we don't touch wet paint and then touch the skin. That would be a smart thing. Thankfully, I didn't do anything. Personally, didn't like it. Went back to Chido Box. Okay, that's fair. I'm gonna make his like little underwear red. I feel like I don't know. I don't think it's all the same black cloth anyway, but obviously there's like strips of black cloth right there. Just a little extra hint of color. One thing I liked about the Elegoo slicer was that you could like from the slicer you could like split the model. Would be nice if you could like add, you know, what do you call it? I'm spacing on the word. You know, the connector points so you can like get back, put them back together. I know that's asking a lot from a slicer though, but at least just being able to like split it if it's like a really big print or something and you just want to print it in two halves. And you can also add a second build plate so you could see like test out different like orientations of the model or something, or different supports, see how they would work. Yeah, these ribbons here are not easy to get. I'll probably have to do most of that off stream. I mean, again, mostly going to be covered by the backdrop, so you're not really going to see a whole lot of it. Doesn't need to be 100% perfect, but I still want to get some decent work done to it. Okay, I think the red is all done being base coated. A few more swipes here and there. Make sure we get the bottom. Okay. I've been printing out a lot of 1/6 scale statues and 1/4 scale busts. Damn, those are pretty big. All right, I know he's gone, but Doug was talking about the So Flat, so I'm getting out my favorite So Flat Black. I need to refill that. It's pretty low. And because we actually, I'm gonna use this in some of the skin too. We're going like a warm light with the skin, so we're gonna have to do a warm light on the black. So I'm getting out some bright pale yellow from Pro Acryl to mix up the gray. Actually, just before I do that, we'll get some of this on the skin as well. Get that nice bright warm light. Maybe it's a little bit here. We don't want a lot of light hitting this leg here, but it does pop out more than up there. All right. Let's make a gray. We can also add a little bit of this transparent yellow, but too much yellow with black starts going green, so we don't really want to go too heavy with the yellow paints. For this black cloth, obviously, you put black cloth directly under light, it starts looking a little gray. That's why we're going with a gray base coat over something that's supposed to be black and already primed black, but it'll make sense when start working on it properly. And I got that what is it called? The Big Child stuff, Atom paints black, which is more satin than the So Flat black. So for the deep recesses that will be shadow, it'll actually look nice and black. Because I'm sure you've all experienced it. You try to paint something matte black and it starts looking gray because that's just kind of how the light works. So a lot of the stuff that I am painting with this gray will be covered up again with a black, but it's all part of the process. Jed, I see you couldn't wait to get your fishing back. How'd you get there? Gummy worms. Ooh, look at you. You got yourself a nice little snack. Remember, I think you only got one more for the day. I think I set the limit to 4. Up from 3, what it used to be. What is that? I can't tell if these two things here, there's one there and one there, if it's supposed to be a metal panel. Stop sliding off. Jesus, I need to fix this better. Or if it's cloth. Is it leather? That might be leather. Okay. I'm just gonna say it's a piece of leather, so we'll just do mahogany, and I'll come back for that later. Final bit of base coating here. We got the black bits that are folded out. Yeah, I guess there's like a leather strap here in the back, but you can't really see it, so whatever. Oh, somehow missed this right here. There we go. Okay. No longer staying on. Oh, and his blindfold. Still chasing the big one. What is the big? I think there's a blue whale. I think the blue whale is the biggest thing in the game. Like you can add, like obviously I added a custom fish because you got a gene stealer, but I don't think you can make the weight heavier than what the blue whale is. You'll have to check the stats. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure. Don't you have the biggest catch? Okay, tone that down. It was just a little too bright on the tip of the chin. All right, so the fabric we're going with like really splotchy brush strokes, kind of half stippling, half scribbling. It'll give us texture. When I come in for like final highlights and stuff, I'll definitely be stippling them on. Like I said, with the light, easier to show it like that. Kind of not a big, kind of like this direction, you know. These bits that are kind of coming out will get big bright spots, but you know we don't want the, even though it's like in the direct light, you know, we don't want this spot here to be as bright as the top of the head. Because generally when you're painting a figure, you want all the focus to be up here, so you just kind of go bright and then lower the light towards the bottom. So when you get to the spots, you know, especially if you're doing like similar colors, like if you're, say you're painting a Space Marine, you know, the helmet and the feet are going to be the same color, but what you end up doing is like the mid-tone up here is the highlight down here. So you can see that stuff is still highlighted and it looks bright in comparison to the rest of the paint around it. But value-wise, it's not the same as your highest value areas. And you'll also be coming back and like glazing this down, blending some of the texture back in. If you want an idea of what I'm going for with this black cloth, I can show you in a second here. It might have already come up in the little gallery, picture gallery. It is the Lilith Hesperex bust. Again, when I come back with that more satin black for like the pure black areas, the really dark areas, the cloth will start looking more black again rather than gray. But just want to make sure we get this kind of texture going in. This can be like a really sloppy texture. It's fine. Why do you keep doing this? Every time I open the folder of images, it changes the view to list for some reason. I fucking hate that. I want large view so I can actually see what the picture is. Okay. There it is. So this was the Lilith Hesperex bust that was sculpted by Dave in chat. I don't know if he's still around, but he did this and took it over to Monty. You can see like this is what the cloth will kind of look like. Stippled, so a little bit of warm highlights, warm lights. So what I did, basically the same thing with using the yellow to kind of make the gray. What did I use to? I don't think over here to make like a distinction between the leather, I used Croxagore scales to kind of glaze a bluish green tint in there. But over here, I think I just glazed it with thinned down so flat black, and then kept going back over with that bright pale yellow to get that warm light. I'm here, I have it, but it's very broken, unfortunately. Oh man, that sucks. I'm sorry. But yeah, this is what the cloth will eventually look like. The hairband should have been made much more thicker. You know, I feel like I said, I separated that piece and pinned it when I assembled it. I should have shipped it to you unassembled. That way, for one thing, it would have fit in a smaller package. That way, you could have pinned it and assembled it yourself, or sorry, it's already pinned, but might have survived a little better. All right, so this inner portion here, I am hitting it with the So Flat Black because light will not be shining directly in there. So when you use the matte black paint and there really isn't very much light hitting there, it really does look very dark. But when light is shining directly on the matte black paint, it tends to look gray. So that's why I'm going to be using the more satin paint on the outer portions. Okay. Also get a smaller brush. Let's get that size 1 Da Vinci. You can tell it's the size 1 Da Vinci because I've worn it the writing completely off. All right. Also, as you can see, this no longer really has a sharp point. I've used it so much and it's kind of dead, which ends up being very good for stippling. All right, so the way we're going to do this is obviously it all looks the same value here, is the same color. But after I glaze it down, we're going to make sure that the stuff that's outermost, like jutting out the most, will be the higher value. So up here it will be a little darker. What we do want to kind of keep that in line. So we'll say maybe this little section here will still be the same value as here. And then if you think like the light's kind of, so like about here. So this is all going to be in line with each other. But these sections again that are coming out will be like the highest value. But again, it won't be this value up here. This will still be our brightest section. At least, you know, that's the goal. Put a couple pics in 3D printing on Discord. All right. Oh, Dave, I saw your projects in the whips. Those look really cool. I haven't been able to like give a good look at them yet. Is that an Anubis? Those things look cool. They also look giant. Here's the question, chat. You've been printing stuff. Have you been painting stuff? Put this more on camera here. All right, there's a lot of cloth to do, and obviously I'm not going to get to it all today. So I think I'm just kind of going to focus on this section, and like right here. I'll do the whole process or as much as I can get done in the time I have. So you can see like how I'm going to be doing everything. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to ignore all that and probably over here. I can do that like off stream or on another stream. You know, again, help if I put it on camera. Did anyone enter the Squidmar online competition? I threw a couple pieces in. I didn't know the competition existed until there was like an hour left in the deadline. So I threw the goat in from the Critter Challenge, and then the Wolverine that I did a while back. And just see what happens. Anubis and Hela, yeah. Okay. Why did you? Oh, wrong window. Looking at your Dark Elf, Dave. It's pretty cool. I like the dynamic pose you got, and like the way she's holding the cape. That looks pretty cool. Will look pretty good when it's finished. You gotta stop sliding off, man. All right, this little band right here, I mean, this will probably stay this light just so you can tell that there's a difference there. A little edge highlighting stuff. Oh, that's a hole. Okay. There's a, I guess, it's got a little pit right there from printing. Don't know how that happened. We'll have to fill that in. There's also one right here on the chest, very small. I don't even know if it shows up on camera. It's like pinhole size. Like those little things are very easy to fix with 3D prints. Like you just fill it in with some like heavy gloss gel. There's one on this side too. Is something supposed to like clasp into there? Is that why there's those holes? I don't get it. But yeah, you just put some heavy gloss gel in there and it'll, because the heavy gloss gel kind of dries clear, it'll pick up some of the colors around it. So you don't have to paint over it, but I will. Oh yeah, it does kind of pick up from the camera right there. Just a little tiny hole. And at this point, I'm just adding a tiny bit of this dark gray mixture directly to the bright pale yellow. I keep forgetting the name. And we're just kind of put right where this kind of highlight is. I'm going to add a little stippling here as well. And then, that glaze will really tone it down. Kind of start all the way up here. The much looser stipple. So there's not as much light, but then we get more concentrated with the dots. Down here where there's more light catching the cloth. That's no problem, Dave. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks for stopping by. All right. Like I might almost have to glue this on. gonna let that dry because we don't want the. I'm about to glaze it, and you don't want the glaze to like wipe all that paint. Mix it in, spread it around. Come over here. Actually, I'm going to use just a tiny bit of transparent yellow with this black. We'll give a slight green tint. As you mix yellow and black and you get green. But also take a tiny bit of this teal. And on the palette, it looks like I'm just mixing up black. So we're getting a little bit of a green tint to it. As we glaze it down, you can kind of see that color. Which will play nice with the red because, you know, complementary colors, red and green. But we're not going like super green for Christmas or anything. Just kind of be there. A little too much, you just add some more water and spread it out. Like, it will really show up on the really bright high value dots that we put down. All right, one thing we need to do in this fold here, we got to put some mid-tone stippling in there. Add a little more black to this. Oh, that's why that looks so bright. I missed a spot. Look, I can see it on the camera, but I couldn't see it the way it was turned. There we go. That little inner bit right there. There we go. Okay. And of course, this is kind of wet right here, so it's reflecting more light from the painting light, so it looks like it's on value with this, but it's not in person. It's just the shininess that I kind of just added to it. That will all be fixed later. It's no big deal. Especially like with the cloth, I could come in with excuse me, a matte varnish. Get rid of all that shine. All right. Just making sure it's dry. You don't want it to still be wet when you start stippling again. All right, so we're going to come back with a more mid-tone looking color. Not as bright as what those were. This is one of the annoying things about getting good texture in fabric and like fur. Is that you kind of have to do it multiple times. Because you do your initial stippling or like fur texture, and then you glaze it and kind of blend it in a little, and then you do it again. And then you can kind of even glaze it again and blend it in, and then reinforce the highlights again. That helps build up depth, like depth of color and texture, and that's really important in getting the look right. At least for a competition piece. I mean, for just a regular display piece, it'll look pretty good the first pass. Maybe a light glaze, and then just a little bit of reinforcing the highlights, and you can be done for just like a display piece. But if you're going for competition, you kind of have to do multiple passes. I know Andy Wardle was talking about that with his last Golden Demon piece. That diorama he had where like the wood elf looked like it was soothing an injured elk or something, and he was talking about doing all the fur and then glazing it almost to the point where you couldn't see that he did anything, and then doing the fur again and then glazing it again, and like how long that process took, but you kind of needed to do it to get that good, really good texture and the depth that he had. So that's kind of the reason why I'm only focusing on these little bits here for stream, because, or at least for this stream, because this is going to take a while to do all the cloth, and I just wanted to show some of the skin, some of the cloth before doing other parts on stream, like the metal. Like I said, we want a little bit of this mid-tone color in these areas here. Still getting some light. Don't fall off. All right, so now I'm using just that Soul Flat Black. I'm glazing this back a little too much pigment there. Add some more water to the brush, and you're good. while that's trying, I'm just adding some more like purplish skin tones here. The skin is not done by any stretch of the imagination. It's done enough for today's stream. Refining will come later. But, you know, while waiting, I could refine a little. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're kind of going to mix up a very warm skin tone highlight. Kind of like not the brightest highlight here, but maybe about right here. And we'll get that warm light tone that we're looking for to go into just our highlight areas. Like I said, like right about here where the light is hitting the leg, we'll get some that same warm light right there. And you don't need a lot of it. You can see it like already just putting a few stipples on how much it kind of brightens that up. And then we'll do it on this little waistband thing. We're not going like just a straight line across, you know, it's kind of dotting it. All right. What thing I want to do real quick is just kind of this quick black line right there. What do we got? Oh, Hannah Hobby Workshop, thank you for the raid. There's your receipt. Printer's askew for some reason, but thank you very much. Hope your stream went well. right now I am painting the Aspect of Faith from Bestiarum models. For the Resin Beast competition at Adepticon in like 40-ish days. I was just working on some black cloth here. And I completely forgot about the blindfold. It's also black, but there's plenty of time to work on that. Like I said, this is the very first day we're working on this guy, so lots of first steps, lots of base coating, getting things looking okay. I'm using that mid-tone highlight thing that I just got for the black cloth and just putting it on these highlights down here. Said you don't need a lot down here because the way his chest is kind of barreled out, and right there with our angle of light, you're not getting a lot of light down here. And like I said earlier, the further down you go, the more you want the highlight to be a mid-tone of your brightest areas. Let's move this. I know it's kind of angled away, but I still want a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's okay. I might actually tone this down a bit, so let's some of this mixed into this. And then we'll come back and just kind of cover some of this highlight. Yeah, like I was saying at the beginning of the stream, this guy might not fully be human because his anatomy is so weird. Like, he's got muscles on top of muscles on top of muscles. So trying to figure out how to highlight and shade all of those is... it's been fun. Still a really cool model. Like, I think it's really nice. I mean, that's why I picked it. I thought it looked really cool. And if you're going to be painting for a competition, you're going to be spending a lot of time on a model. It may as well be something you enjoy, or at least like the look of. All right. Oh, come back, camera. There we go. Let me get the backdrop real quick, just so you can kind of... I mean, obviously not even primed yet, but you know, it'll be sitting on here. Don't fall off. Don't fall off. Kind of like that. Maybe a little bit more over. So you see the kind of beam of light effect that will be happening there. All right. That's where I'm going to stop today. Tomorrow, we can start working on the gold and probably like the red fabric. So we've got like this little bit of red here, the red stuff there, but you know, most of this time will be with the gold things, and you know, we kind of want to do the red just so we can start working on the gold inlays. I think you can call them inlays. The raised runes on these banner thingies, tassels, not tassels, what ribbons.